Hello, everyone. I'm John McKay. I'm the Member of Parliament for Scarborough-Guildwood, and this is our latest episode in What We Give. I've got a very interesting guest with me today, Manjura Rehman, who is the Executive Director at the Canadian South Asian Growth and Support Services, CSAGSS. Now, is there a test to see whether you can do that in order to be able to work at your service, Manjura?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So you have to pass this test. You got to be able to say the whole name in order to be able to
Yeah.
get a job there. Is that it?
Yeah. It's Canadian South Asian Growth and Support Services, which is also called CSAGSS.
CSAGSS. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll stay with CSAGSS because I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure I get through the rest.
Mhm.
So, Manjura, you have
Yeah.
a really interesting job here. But tell
Mhm.
me a bit about yourself. Where were you born?
Mhm. Okay. It's good to know. It's good to meet you all today virtually. Thank you for providing this opportunity and a platform to talk um, about CSAGSS and how it got started. What I'm today have given me an ample of opportunity to serve the humanity, create more compassion for my fellow people, my community members. As I reflect, I'm very clear that the type of the work which I wanted to do, which engaged me always, have been fairly consistent. I surely find myself to be a problem solver, and I have love for the society and for the community. To start with, I started my career as a teacher,
But where,
teaching.
before you got to the teacher thing, what country were you born in?
Okay, that's okay. I'm sorry, I missed that
Yeah,
part. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm born in India,
Really?
and
What part of India?
India, born in Rourkela. It's a small city, coming
Hmm.
from a small village, a small city, which is also called a city of a steel plant,
And
a Rourkela steel
what
plant.
state? What state is that?
It is Orissa,
Orissa.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
Orissa in India.
yeah.
And I did my schooling from Carmel Convent School, and completed my schooling from convent, and as well as I'm thankful to my parents that I went to convent at that time, and then I'm able to speak a little bit of correct English.
Yeah, well,
um,
it's more than a little bit of correct English. You're excellent.
I
English
try.
is quite excellent. So tell me
Yeah.
about your parents. Were your parents very keen on you being well educated?
Um, Honestly speaking, I'm coming from a family where my parents were not much educated. Education was there in the family, but again, my dad was. I would say the beauty of the family was that when my elder sister, I have five siblings, so when my elder sister was attending her, I would say high school, that was the time my dad went for his high school
Oh,
because he
really?
wanted to, yeah, and he
Yeah.
wanted to take up the position as a manager in the steel plant, a
Hmm.
supervisor. So he said, learning never stops, whatever the age comes. And
Hmm.
keeping that in the mind, he started continuing his studies, and he gave his bachelor's degree. He passed out his bachelor's from Orissa. When my sister was doing her bachelor, she was doing the bachelor. So it was a constant growth. Looking at my parents and uh, my older siblings, so we all came up from an educated family where my dad believed that education never stops with the age.
Yeah.
And my mom was not much educated, honestly speaking, but again, she knew that education has got a beautiful role to play. It's not only to education for her was it means something to not only to give you a good lifestyle, but also help other people. If you're educated, come forward and help and give to the community, give back. So that's the background where I'm coming from.
So after
So
you graduated from Carmel Convent, where did you go to school after that?
I did my college university from Sambalpur University. I did my master's in sociology, completing my master's in sociology. Before that, I completed my Bachelor of Science from Sambalpur University and Bachelor of Education from Annamalai University.
Well, you obviously
And
took your father's words to heart, and
yes,
so your family is a well-educated family then.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
still like, I never stopped. My education never stopped after coming to Canada also, because if you wanted to do something, you need to know the policies and the rules, and so that
Right.
you don't remain back. You need to prove that you know something, and then you will be able to go ahead.
So
Keeping
when did you come to Canada then?
I came in the May 2012,
And
and I
and
landed as a permanent resident.
why did you come to Canada?
Honestly speaking, the life which I have been living, the lifestyle, I got a beautiful lifestyle. I love my country, but again, when the matter comes up, like when you have kids and you have to send your children to education, to
Hmm.
educate them to the foreign country, it's not the background of the family, like, where I'm coming from. I didn't allow my child to come forward and come and study here in Canada or USA. I wanted to send my kids to USA to study. But again, I thought, okay, when I'm sending my child to study, why not I be with my children? Why not I be with them?
Hmm.
Because one generation has to work hard to pass on the battle to the next
Right.
generation. Keeping
Right.
that in the mind, me
Mm.
and my husband, we both of us decided, let's go with the family. And of course the lifestyle, of course the good life to lead in the country like this in North America,
Hmm.
and give a beautiful life to my children.
Yeah.
So
So
keeping that in the
what
mind,
happened to your children? Did they end up going to American colleges or Canadian colleges?
in Canadian colleges for sure. This
Yeah.
is a beautiful country. It's a dream destination for all of us. When I came here, I landed as a permanent resident. But again, I was happy that I have two responsibilities to take forward. One
Hmm.
for my country, India, and one for my country who gave me the bread and butter, my Canada.
Mm.
So keeping that in the mind, I wanted to give to the community and give back to the world also where I'm living. So my kids, they went back to the schools here. They're still going to the school. I have two daughters,
And
beautiful young daughters.
where are they going to school?
John, my elder daughter, she's 21 years old now. She was 12 when she came here,
Hmm.
and she went to military trail school in Montreal. And now she's going to York University and studying her film studies. She's a film production. She's studying film production through the York University. She went and did her diploma with the Toronto Film School. She's a filmmaker and film producer.
Really? Really?
Yes,
Wow, that's quite interesting.
yeah, she
Okay.
wants to help the community through the real life through the real. That's
Yeah.
what her
Yeah.
passion is. She said, Mom, you're also doing a great work, so this is what I want to do. I want to give to this community. I want to give to my country. So I want to bring the clear messages through the real part of the world.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
why she's a
you're on the
filmmaker.
right podcast to do that because the podcast is named What We Give. So it's
Yes,
perfect. Well, so you come here in 2012. I'm
yes.
sure the winters were a bit of a how should we say a shock for you, but you seem to have adjusted. So when did you start the SAGS group?
Okay, so you know what? When I was working in the community, especially when I will take you a little back. Like when I was working as a teacher in the country in India, I worked in the capacity of vice principal and principal for a decade. Then I saw there is an emptiness. I need to do something more.
Hmm.
And for at least for 5 years, I started working for women empowerment and street children in India, and imparting educations, free educations to them. So when I landed here, I felt like, somewhere I could navigate because I landed in Monal Court.
Hmm.
Monal Court is actually an underprivileged, is a socially isolated community when I came. I felt no services, no referral programs, and I was trying to navigate through the systems, and I was trying to see where could I reach, where could I get the help. And during that process, I felt that Monal Morningside is a community where there is 72% of the immigrants live. It's a home to the new immigrants.
Right.
It's a home
Right.
to the lot of the low income people they're living. So when I find difficult, when I can find and navigate the systems, what is happening to the newcomers? Why not I do something? So that passion of helping the community, I felt I need to grow, but my growth should not be retained to me. I need
Hmm.
to grow with my community. Keeping that in the mind, with the one bedroom of my apartment at 70 Monal Court, I started Canadian South Asian Growth Support Services to help the community members, especially belonging to the South Asians, because I believe South Asians, we remain in a nutshell. It's difficult for us to come out and discuss what we need. But here in this country, I feel like, we need to come out and we have to navigate the system correctly. Most of the newcomers were not able to do that. So I opened my one bedroom of the apartment where I was living and registered as Canadian South Asian Growth on 4th of December 2013. And since the
Really?
inception,
A
yes,
year after you arrived?
yes, I would
My
say a
goodness.
few months after my arrival.
Yeah.
And from the inception, opening the door to the mothers, to the single mothers, to the community members, I started the programs. We started Language Hub. I would not say my word I, it's not me. It's we wanted to do for the community. So we started a language hub. We started French classes, English language classes for the community members, started Saki Saheli, which means friend circle for the ladies. I found in the playground, the women were standing and they were asking their children to play. The playground was not very good, honestly, John. And I used to take my daughter there. And I said, what type of the life I'm trying to lead here? I'm in North America. We need to give good life to the people. So I started telling them, why don't you come to my house? Let's sit and we talk. And we started chatting. That's how I created Sakhi Saheli program with the women. And we started connecting with SADP, South Asian Diabetic Prevention Program.
Mhm.
And I was happy to create a diabetic prevention program. So I thought of helping the community, giving 3 areas where we can work. That is your food insecurity, helping them for food security, helping them for health and wellness. And other than that, also community development. So this is the 3 areas I thought of helping people. And
Well,
that's how I started the sites.
diabetes is kind of a ethnic
It's
specific
yes,
in
in the
and
South Asians.
the way I understand it, there's an element of genetics involved. There's an element of lifestyle involved, and there's an element of food selection involved.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's
And
100% correct.
yeah,
So
so tell me a bit about what you were able to do in that, because that is a pretty serious issue among South Asian
yes.
people.
So after talking to them, after speaking to them, I found them there was not much activity for them. Even the Pan Am Sports Center is there. They
Mm,
could have walked. What I started is that let's start a winter walk program. So people they complain, winter, how are we going to walk? Hey, let's not be little creative. Let's start a winter walk program.
yeah.
Honestly speaking, with Toronto Public Health, and we requested them, they created a workshop for us. And we started navigating how to do the programs. We asked them, let's all women, after sending the kids to the school, what do you do from 10:30 to 12:30? Let's go for a walk. And we
Mm,
created a walk program. Safe, that's a walk program for the winter walk program we started. And we walked from our home, from the Monreal Community Hub to the Pan Am Sports Center, walking there, talking to them. So that was the way how we created a program. So keeping in the mind that people have to be healthy
mhm,
and they have to also eat good food and correct nutritious food as well. So
right.
that was the time when I started thinking not only walk is going to help, but again, providing them the nutritious, uninterrupted food is also important. So
Mhm,
South Asian people, they are more prone to the not eating the eating more culturally related food, but not very much related. I mean, eating the correct nutritious food from the food guide. So that's how we started talking about that. And to my astonishment, I found many of the ladies, many of the women, they did not know what am I talking about the food guide. Because
mm,
being a newcomer myself, when I'm been told, hey, in a plate you need to have more salad and a small amount of rice, I would say, no, that's not gonna. I'm gonna eat my food. I'm gonna eat more whole rice, a lot of the rice, a little vegetable, and a small portion of the salad. So it was really funny. It was really funny for
yeah.
me to talk to them, explain them, and we played games. We talked to them, and that's how we started, creating awareness with among the women. So if you go to the website and if you see our Facebook, you will be able to see how we started the walk program and how beautifully we conducted that
Mhm.
programs.
Well, that's really interesting, isn't it? The
Yeah,
biggest impediment to healthier outcomes is just changing your lifestyle. Change the things you can change.
yeah,
You can't do much about your genetics, but you
that's
can do
correct.
something about your exercise regime. You can do something about the food that you're eating. So you're a one woman exercise fiend here. You should be on YouTube or something like that.
Mhm. I don't know much about it, but again, the creative ideas which is there in the mind, why
Yeah.
not talk to people and people will accept it? That's what I started doing it. And the innovative methods, like, when we have been, and moreover, you need to work. I mean, you yourself, when you do it, people follow you.
Hmm.
So the programs and the services which we have been doing, I've been actively participating in that program. And myself being diabetic, I'm prone to the type 2 diabetic. So
Oh. Hmm.
creating a program like that really helped not only to me, but again, tons of the women, those who were living in the community. So my lifestyle changed, my food changed, my exercise, my walking, um, doing a lot of the exercise, changing my lifestyle, talking positive. I think it really matters a lot when you
Hmm.
talk and when you talk about everything to people.
Well, that's very impressive. So you put this together a few months after you arrived,
Yeah.
and then you expand it. So what was the big expansion from your one bedroom at Mornell Court? By the way, just for people who might not know where Mornell Court is, it's basically bounded by the west side of Morningside, the north side of Ellesmere, and the south side of Military Trail.
Yeah.
And there's what, 5-6 buildings there, and you're right to describe it as, kind of a newcomers. Basically, newcomers. 75% would be newcomers, I would think.
Yeah, it's basically 9 buildings where more than 9,000 of the community members will live there, where 72% is newcomers and refugees.
That many, really?
Yeah, and 22%, like, this is the data which I pulled up from the neighborhood investment area, from the city of Toronto, and it's the most impressive area, I would say, where more than 22%. I would say my data may be here and there. I'm not very sure about it, but again, I'm very sure more than 22% are low income people. We have a background with the ethnocultural, racialized community groups, the refugees group, newcomers. And not only Monal, but again, we started another food bank at Woburn, that's your Tuxedo Court, where more than 82% of the community members are newcomers. They are from South Asians background. It's really necessary to impart, our attention towards that community, because a large group of the community members where the awareness are less, and I'm working on that part.
So you obviously have gone beyond a 1-bedroom apartment at Mornell Court. Where did you go? What did you do after that?
I was very sure. I've been doing, as I told you, and I've been navigating about the systems, and we saw in Toronto community housing, there's a place where community programs were not much developed, but it was very recently I started observing that a work program was going on. And I did speak to the community leader, Angela Brackett, about the program. And she said, this is a community place where Toronto community housing programs, they conduct the programs. So we approached at that time about the place. And I'm really lucky, was really very fortunate enough that Toronto community housing came forward as a great support, and they provided us a space for creating the programs for our community members. So John, we started sewing classes. We started language hubs. We started Saki Saheli group from the 1-bedroom we brought in here. So there are a lot of the programs we did in this Monal Community Hub, which is a space, which is a shared space. But again, at least we were lucky enough to get 1 day or 2 days in a week where we started the computer training to the women, those who lived in the community. So these programs, we started from my 1-bedroom. We kept the headquarter office the same Monal Court, which is now 51870 Monal Court. But again, we started the programs at Monal Community Hub. That's how we started bringing the programs. And we started getting connected. I'm very good in connecting with the programs and going to the community hubs. I was a student placement to my, you'll be happy to know that I was a student placement when I did my social service worker program. I completed my social service worker program, and I was a student placement at Working Women Community Center, Victoria Park Hub.
Really?
And when I was a student placement, I saw the place and I said, this is a place I need to bring my community members and do programs. So I connected with them, and now CSAGSS is a partner with Working Women Community Center. They have been trusting us for getting us the fundings, and now we are a charitable organization. So slowly but surely, we were able to connect and create that partnership. We were able to create the partnership, and we did most of the program for the South Asians, not only at Monal. We started spreading our wings, and we started spreading and reaching to the community members outside all over the Scarborough, and catering not only to the South Asians, but we opened our arm, welcoming everybody need the services. So Services for All was started by CSAGSS.
All out of the Mornell location.
Yes, other than Monal Community Place, we also started all over the Scarborough. We reached to the various organizations and partnered with them, creating and supporting them for the South Asian community. Not only South Asian community, we opened the programs for Services for All. At present, we have at Victoria Park Hub, we have a program. And also we have the program at Tuxedo Court, which is another pop-up food bank which came up. And we started a Tuxedo Court food bank at Woburn community.
So you got 3 satellite locations, if you will?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Without a place of our own.
Without a place, yeah. And how many people would you say you serve on a weekly basis?
Honestly speaking, when it was not COVID, we served around 75 to 80 families. So each family, when you count, it's 5 to 7 people in a family, households. So when I say 75 households times 5, that was the calculation we have been doing pre-COVID. But the moment we started in the COVID hit from March 2020, there was a rush. There was a surge in the clients. It was overwhelming. We couldn't turn them back. So I would say 200 households, somewhere ranging between 200 to 225 households.
So that's roughly 1,400 people on a...
More than 1,500 people from one location.
Right.
And it's similarly from Tuxedo Court. So
so it's 1,500 per location.
Per location, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness, 1,500 per location times 4.
Per locations. Yes, times 4.
Oh my goodness, that's
so it was
6,000 people.
We reached sometimes 6,000 in between 2020 March, and we were able to, but sometimes we were not able to fulfill the needs of the community. What's happening, John, is that we are able to give them the food for 2 days or 3 days. Do you think 2 days, 3 days food will be enough for the people to survive? No. I need 7 days. My kids are home. They need more food. They need more munching foods. What am I doing? So my heart breaks sometimes, honestly speaking. We got a lot of the funders. We started bringing more food, and we went to GoFundMe page because we needed money. We needed cash flow. Volunteers were scared. They never wanted to come because of the COVID. We worked hard. Sometimes we also we did delivery, around 150 to 200 deliveries every time. More than 8 hours I was on the road when we didn't have the volunteers. We have to drive the foods, me and my husband. We have to move all over the Scarborough providing the delivery. It was chaos. It was chaos, honestly speaking. So I would say when we calculate somewhere, because Link to Feed is actually the data where we always register the clients. So we had 200 clients every week from one location, and 170 to 180 people from the Tuxedo Court location. So we were reaching approximately between 4,000 to 5,000 community members. So that was the huge number.
What's your food source? Who's making the donations?
John, we are a member agency with the Daily Bread. I would say Daily Bread is an amazing organization which is doing a great work. They have more than 150 agencies with whom they are working. They have been providing us the food. We were able to, move around 476,000 of LBS of the food since the inception from 2015 August when we started. So our main source of the food comes from the Daily Bread. Our second source of the food comes from the Second Harvest, but that's not enough. Because they were providing us the food for somewhere between 100 and 150 households, but we were exceeding. So they were very kind enough to provide us a little amount of the donations where we have to purchase some food. There are the local churches which provided us a donation for $2,500, which is not enough. We reached to the local businesses because businesses also closed, so we didn't have much. We have the Scarborough Guildwood, which came forward, and there was a food donations going on, and they helped us. Sometimes, John, I would say we have very good opportunities, very good support from the community members. They wanted to donate. We got $2,130 as a donation from the GoFundMe page, but that amount was not enough to feed 4,000 people.
No. It would be kind of like the biblical loaves and fishes story where you had 2 fishes and 5 loaves and turned it into feeding 4,000. Can't do that every week.
And when you're putting in the bags, we have the bags when we put the food because it's a pre-hampered food. Families, I'm sad to tell, sometimes I'm heartbroken. Sometimes I used to sit in the shower and I used to say, oh my God, what am I going to do? I've been talking about it, but we can't say it's a bad time. It's a hard time. So I could see people, they're asking, we have 7 children. I need more food. I have to give them. We can't say them no. But the food which we are giving, if it's 10 kgs, 10 kilos of the carrots when it's coming, we have to divide them into 200 bags. So everybody gets a portion of 5 carrots. What am I going to do with that 5 carrots? If I need to feed my children, do you think I'll be able to feed my children? No. It's difficult, John. It's difficult. I've seen people breaking down. I've seen people requesting for more food. I've seen people telling, we have children at home, they need snacks. They are going for the schools online, they need more snacks. It's difficult, John.
It is. And what's happened to your other programs while you've been doing this emergency during the COVID?
We have to close down most of the programs. We have to
Oh, really?
postpone, we have to close down the programs. We only kept the food banks running
Yeah.
because that was the need of the hour. We had this programs, walking programs, sewing programs, everything we were able to stop because the community with whom we were working were not very comfortable going virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them had a problem with the internet, some of them have a problem with the devices. So we could not go for those programs. So we have to stop it completely, except with the food programs and the meal programs. Since we don't have a community kitchen, so we have to depend on the restaurants, asking them prepare some of the food for us. That's what we have been doing it, and we have been circulating and giving away the foods to the people. But all other programs we have to stop.
Yeah.
We started a new program with the youth where we wanted to give them a little mental support with the programs and the referral programs. So we partnered with the Daily Bread and the referral programs. We started calling and checking on with the seniors and the youth if they need anything, if they need any help, and referring them to the Daily Bread. And the Daily Bread had their own sources and references. So this is the small sort of the things we could do only. But again, other than that, we stopped all other programs because of the pandemic. We didn't have much space. Earlier, if it is a room, we could accommodate at least 30 or 40 people. But now, since because we don't have our own
Oh, of
space,
course.
a
Yeah.
shared space,
Yeah.
we cannot
Yeah.
involve people. We cannot bring them in. So we have to stop
So you've
everything.
had to pretty well drop everything just to concentrate
Everything.
on putting food in people's bellies. Before I get to the final
Yes.
question I wanted to ask, um, you've got a unique perch on this pandemic. You're seeing it upfront and personal, if you will. What are your observations with respect not only to people's physical health and how they're coping with the pandemic, but what are the observations you've made with respect to people's mental health as well?
I would say it's it's difficult to tell people when, even though when we were allowed to go out, move out freely, still people had mental issues, isn't it?
Mm,
When people were asked to stay at home, when they had least resources, when they were not allowed, and especially living in an apartments, when they have small space where they have to live with the 4 or 5 kids, there is a growth of mental issues coming up.
yeah, yeah,
People were not able to cope up. They lost the jobs. They were scared of the virus. They couldn't go. They thought they are the only earning members of the family. If something happened to them, what's going to happen to the people? So the mental trauma, see, it was really difficult. I did see people talk to us. When we were calling the seniors, especially when we provided the food to the seniors and we called them for the checkup, like and how they're doing, they said, one of the seniors, I still remember, they said, do you mind calling me every day? I said, why do you want me to call you every day? She said, I like speaking to
just
you.
talking, just talking. People need to
Just
talk to each
talking.
other. Yeah,
And then I have to spend an hours and hours, and she wanted to sing song to me. So I was devastated to see people are really broken. It's mental issues going on.
yeah.
What are they going to do? They are 1 or 2. Kids are not able to come to the seniors.
Well,
They, they're leaving the
we had that sort of experience not last weekend, but the weekend before that, where we did some phoning,
yeah,
and you couldn't get people off the phone. Once you said, "Hello, I'm John McKay. I'm the member of Parliament for Scarborough Guildwood," and they said,
yeah.
"Who? Oh, yes, yes. How
Oh,
are you, Mr. McKay?" And then they just want to talk, just talk. Anybody.
yes.
So
Anybody.
things are in grim shape when people really want to talk to their politician.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's correct. So
yeah,
every little things of the hope, they're thinking they're hopeful. If I talk, there's some hopes coming, and the rays of the hopes are coming. Maybe John McKay will be able to do something. This is what I could think. That's why
yeah,
they don't want to get off the phone.
yeah.
And I'm nobody. I'm just a person who is serving people. I'm just a frontline person
You're
who's
you're
trying
you're
to do
way
my
way
work.
past nobody. Come on. Any woman who comes to Canada in 2012 and has a feeding operation 9 years later of 6,000 people is not a nobody. Please.
Trust
Yeah.
me.
So it's an amazing story. It really is quite an amazing story.
Thank you, John, for listening to me. But it's a journey from somebody to nobody as a
Mm,
newcomer who comes to the country. But you need to have a passion to become from nobody to somebody. It's not only yourself who becomes nobody to somebody. You take people along with you to become
Yeah.
somebody in your life. That's why you're in this country.
You are definitely a somebody. There's no question about it. Now, I'm assuming that you could use some help. So, if we were to say to people if they wanted to get involved, how would they make contact with you?
So the number which they always call me, I'm getting some of the calls. Email me. That
Mm,
can be also. And I honestly speaking, we really need some help at this time because it's overwhelming. We
right.
need somebody to come forward and help us to have a space. We have the capacity to serve people for 7 days a week, but we don't have the space to do that. I'm working on that. I'm working on that. So people, if they want to come forward and help, that's only what they could help us. We have tons and tons of the volunteers who can come and do the great work. We can uh, the skills can be created, or we can help them doing that. But again, if we don't have the space, if we don't have the fridge, we don't have the freezer to hold the food, to store the food, no cold storage, what is going to happen, John?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we are struggling with. And if people, they want to connect with us, if they call us, they email us, I'm always there 24 times 7.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, can I give you one example? I'm getting a call in this number, 647-762-4670. I'm getting a call.
Slow that one
Sure.
down again.
Sorry.
Repeat that again.
Yeah, 647,
Yeah.
sorry, 762
Mm-hmm.
4670.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a call late night, I would say early morning, 2:30 in the morning, and a couple living in a car. He says, I'm in a street. We need food.
Okay.
I was broken. 2 in the morning, somebody's calling me for the food. So it's 24 times 7. My phones are on to call. We have to tell the person, I will be awake only at 5:30. Why
Yeah.
don't we meet you? 6 o'clock, I was there at 90 Monal, opening the space and giving them some bread, butter, or whatever we had in the fridge and freezer.
This
It's
is Canada. And this is Canada.
this is Canada.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's a
we're going to
beautiful
have
country, no doubt.
I know, and beautiful country with lots of potential and upside, and many people do very well. But
Yeah.
there is an underside, and this pandemic has really exposed that underside, which
Yes.
has shown unique vulnerabilities right across the spectrum. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for what you give.
No problem.
That's really quite a good story. I've been talking to Manjura Rehman, who is the Executive Director of the Canadian South Asian Growth and Support Services, SCAGSS as it's known.
The
Um,
SAGSS.
CSAG, yes. Well, I see. I failed the first test right off the top. I failed the first test. Anyways,
No, you were
this
correct.
has been a really interesting conversation, and as Manjura has said, if you have space and things like freezers or fridges or whatever, please contact her because the need is great and
Yeah.
she is trying her very best to meet it. So again, thank you.
John, if you don't mind, if I can add up here, sometimes the volunteer have to use their vehicles to go and drop the foods. We are struggling on that part also. If people can come forward and help us at this time of the crisis, it's chaos everywhere.
Okay,
And
well,
when we're working, we understand
cars, vans, trucks, whatever. Yeah.
anything. We get a support from that. People come forward and they help us in dropping the food. Sometimes we have to turn people up and they say we cannot provide because we are on the road, hitting the road for 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours serving
Yeah.
delivery for the food. And then there's no walking free, there's no fridge, no freezer. People want to give us the food, we have to turn them back because we don't have the space to keep the food in the cold storage. That those are some of the situations we are facing at present. Yeah,
Okay.
any help, every
Okay.
little counts a lot
Okay.
for us.
Well, thank you again for talking to
Thank
me.
you.
And the need is great. And so for those who have the ability, please contact Manjura. She's apparently open at 2:30 in the morning, even.
Yes, of course.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anytime.
Okay. Thanks again.
Available for my clients. Thank you, John.
Okay. Take care.
Take care. Thank you for nice speaking to you.